What's up, YouTube? We're going to do a walk around on my nitrous install. I'm going to show you where everything got hooked up because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of videos on how to do this. So without further ado, here we go. So I had my brother walk me through the mechanical aspect of this install since he's done it on his car, but he's doing it on a big block Chevy in a 1972 Nova, which is a far cry from this setup. So first thing was first, I took off the plastic covers that go on there because you're going to take this fuel rail thing off and you're going to put that adapter on there for the nitrous. So this is factory and it goes right here. This adapter is for the nitrous, so you're going to put that on there first. I think I'm going to have to cut those plastic covers up to get them back on, but honestly I don't think I'm going to mess with that. So then I ran that line over here. This is for my purge. I'm not ready to hook that up yet, so that wiring's just going to run. That's just going to sit there, but the wiring for the purge is done. All I have to do is hook up the relay to this wire here, but I'll get to that when I get to it. Anyway, so here's my fuel into the nitrous solenoid. Here's the nitrous line here. This is the nitrous solenoid. You got these two lines running here into your nozzle. This is a nozzle kit. It's a nitrous outlet X series kit. That goes into your cold air intake, so you're gonna have to take that off, drill a hole in there for that. I used a step bit for it. You're gonna want to seal it up. You're gonna want all these lines nice and tight because when I hooked it up and started the car up, I had fuel leaking from here and I had fuel leaking from here. So make sure that those are tight before you do anything. So right now, temporarily, power to that solenoid is over there to that relay. So the relay is mounted here on this. Again, this is all just temporary. I'm gonna tidy this shit up later, but it works. So this is your ground wire. This is your positive power. And that's pretty much it for this. So this is your nitrous feed line. That goes underneath the car. I didn't even have to jack it up to do that. Being a skinny guy, I'm able to not slide under the car, but reach under the car, and I could reach underneath there. I'm gonna see if I can show you where I went. Almost forgot this part. So when you're hooking up the nozzle, this is the fuel. It goes to your fuel, obviously. Nitrous is the black line. Inside of here is where you're gonna put your jets. You're gonna do, and you're gonna look at the little chart. So for 75, it has 41, and you look on there. There's a little number engraved. You can see it on right there. You can see the little number 028. So that's probably for the fuel, and you're gonna match them up. So to do a 75 shot, I did a 41 on my nitrous side. There's a 41 fitting in here, and then the appropriate one over here is a 19 or 18. So there's an 18 in here and a 41 over here. And they'll only go in one way. So it should, if I remember right, it should be like this. But that's it. And then I drilled a hole. I drilled a hole right through here. And you can see I put a rubber grommet in there and I sealed that up with caulk. I had to cut this mat so that I could, I guess I could have drilled a hole through there, but so the nitrous line goes over there into my bottle. So this is the bottle from the other side. And those brackets, I drilled holes through this little trunk cover and used those bolts to bolt it down. So this I'm going to explain is the wiring aspect of it, the electrical aspect. And the first thing I did for this was pop this whole console apart in a million different places. Get one of these kits. You can get them in an auto parts store. Mine was 15 bucks, but there was like 5 or 6 of these little plastic pry bars. And this piece right here is the first one to pop up. It just pops straight up. Those little tabs right there on 4 corners are what hold that in. They go right there, right there. So then I popped this piece off to the side. My car is fucking dirty because I've been doing this for 3 weeks on and off. I have 2 jobs, so not a lot of spare time. Anyway, so pop this part off, which then gives you access. Popping this off gives you access to this piece, which was the hardest piece to get off. This right here is pretty mangled from me trying to pop it out. But those pieces, you kind of got to get your fingers, you got to get that little pry bar through that hole, through here like this to push it up and pull it out. So you're going to go like this, kind of pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. And then it'll finally come out. The other parts where it plugs in are right there and there. Same on the other side. This is the little tray. This is going to be the last thing out and the first thing in. That plugs in down there. That's all stupid shit, really, to be honest with you. I popped this part loose. I popped these out because this fits snug inside of there and won't go in without these. So you got to really pull on these and then it'll pop out. But just pull them straight out. There's a little tab inside here and here that holds it in. Underneath here, there's another cover that goes underneath there that just popped out. Back here, I popped these parts loose, this part loose. You can see where that pops in 4 places. I unplugged my buttons, my switches for the heated seats. This piece I could not figure out how the plug comes out. So if you push these tabs here, that thing slides through the hole and then makes this thing loose. The reason I did that was so that I could put a hole in the carpet to run that line for my accessory power. So I'll put all that shit back together. I drilled a hole right there. I drilled a hole right there. See right there on the other side, right there, and right there. This is all 10 gauge wire, which I think in hindsight I would have rather used 12 gauge, but it is what it is. So turn the accessory on. We have arming power. And then if the purge was hooked, which it's not, I would be able to purge because it has power. Okay, so there's my wide open throttle switch, and this thing gave me the most trouble of everything I did. If you look at it, it comes on that bracket. Let's see if I can do this and film at the same time. Well, that's wide open throttle. And the reason it was a pain in the ass is because I drilled a hole through the carpet and then the screws I was using, I couldn't feel it grabbing the hole I drilled through the tunnel. Over and over I tried, and I could not get that screw to find that hole. So I gave up for that day. Came back, tried it again. I tried 3 different times, and I couldn't fucking find the hole because I couldn't see through the carpet. So I got a different type of screw and used a drill bit to find the hole I drilled, and then best I could line it up with the screw as I put it in there, and then the screw finally grabbed a hold of the transmission tunnel, started biting, and threaded into the tunnel. So now that thing is nice and secure and stiff. Those connections are soldered on. Those wires run up through there. So that goes through that plastic boot that's around your steering column. You don't have to drill any holes or anything like that. The only hole I drilled was in this plastic. There's a plastic tab there. I drilled a hole in there so that I could run a zip tie through it and secure those wires to kind of keep them clean. So those 2 wires, one is going to my arming switch, one is going to, let's see, wide open throttle switch. So wide open throttle, one is going to the arming switch and one is going to the relay. The other red wire you see there is from the purge switch, and that goes out, and that's going to go to the relay. So that little rubber boot, you just kind of pull on it and you can get the wire through there, which was thankfully easy. It's nice not having to drill a hole through the firewall, but it helps keep all this clean. And so only thing left is to pop all the plastic pieces back on there. And then that's the other side of that boot. You can see the wires come through there. I fished them up around that line there to keep it away from the engine heat from touching. They're zip tied up here, and again, this is the wire for the purge relay. So when I'm ready to put the purge in there, and the reason I haven't put the purge in there is the line they give me that's supposed to exit the purged line. It's not long enough to go. What I want it to do is go out the scoop, and it's not long enough. It's only like 16 inches long. I don't even think it's long enough to go from here up to the back of the hood. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do for that before I put the purge on there. But that is it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do the best I can to answer them. But really, it's not too difficult. It's a little time consuming. I think all told it's 6 hours of time, but it's really straightforward. If you've ever done anything on your car, you should be able to do this, especially if you've done any electrical shit like putting a radio in your car or whatever. But I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to start with a 75 horsepower shot. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't know enough about PCMs and tunes and all that happy horse shit. So, and the other thing too is that's a good $1,500 tied up in a unlocked PCM, a tune, a handheld tuner, and things I don't know anything about. So from hanging out in the Nitrous forums on Facebook, I feel safe spraying up to 100 without a tune. And the only thing I'm going to do to this is I'll start with the 75 shot and play with that for a while, then I'll go up to 100, and you can do that without a tune. And the other thing too is that I will run 1 step colder plugs. So before this thing hits the road, fill the bottle, change the plugs, and that's it. And then I'll play with that for a while until I get a wild hair up my ass to start messing with the PCM and tuners and all that good stuff. But hope you enjoyed this. Hope you helps you or whatever. Peace out.